This is the security policies that you can define for your application. You can go to configure, organ security, authentication, security policies. Here you can define maximum unique historical operator passwords required, maximum operator password in days which is required, minimum operator identifier length, all the requirements you can define here. After how many wrong attempts you need to have CAPTCHA in place, after how many days of inactivity you need to disable the operator ID, multi-factor authentication policies, number of failure attempts, what is the logging level to log the failure attempts, all those you can define here. In Pega, there are 4 types of security checklists that you need to gather: data encryption, authentication, authorization, auditing. Coming to data encryption is like protecting your password, protecting your data, encrypting by using some algorithms, crypto hashing algorithms. Data encryption protects sensitive data within your application without affecting the functionality of Pega platform. You can select the encryption type, use it in your application to encrypt and decrypt passwords, properties, blobs. So basically, for example, password, no one should be able to see. So you will encrypt and store in the database as well. Social security number, others should not see. So encrypt it. Coming to authentication. Authentication is like, as you can see, the fingerprint symbol. Say for example, you are having your mobile phone. No one can log into your mobile phone. Say if you have enabled fingerprint sensor, if you authenticate by giving your fingerprint, then only you can use the contents of the mobile phone. That is authentication. Or you can also authenticate by providing username and password. So authentication ensures that only users and the intended users can access, whose identity can be verified by using user ID and password or single sign-on, so that they can log in to the application. You can also authenticate by using external identity provider. Coming to authorization, authorization is like access control. Authorization is different, it is related to access control. So after successful authentication, then authorization comes into picture. Authentication is whether are you authenticated to log in, that is, do you have the correct user ID and password, are you the authenticated intended user. Authorization means you have logged in, okay, good, but whether do you have access, maybe you are not a premium member, maybe you are not a manager, maybe you don't have that role or privilege, you can't, so you can't access. For example, if your subscription expires, then you can't access some of the features of your application. Then those comes under authorization, which is called as access control. So for example, say consider a real life situation wherein some of the work basket should be visible only to manager and not to others. You can do that using access control. Pega platform provides 3 types of authorization, that is RBAC, role-based access control, ABAC, attribute-based access control, and CBAC, client-based access control. So whether a user has access to the allowed platform features, interfaces, data, cache types, views, that you can control that using this access restrictions, maybe using access when rule or access deny rules. Coming to auditing. Auditing is nothing but auditing is also called as accountability. It's a systematic evaluation of the security of a company information system. That is, you have already set up some security criteria, how well the system is performing over a period of time, that you are measuring by using auditing. Similar to auditing in financing, whatever all finance accounts those are reconciled, they will audit, that is recheck. Security is measured by how well it conforms to a set of established criteria. Pega platform tracks many types of security events such as failed logins and password changes. So say for example, how many times user entered wrong passwords, who all tried to did any brute force attack to log into a system or to intrude to the system. So those are all security events. You can log and you can do the auditing. You can track those changes. Pega and Pega's clients share the responsibility of security of application. They need to follow the AIC triad: availability, integrity, confidentiality. Availability means availability prevents delays for authorized individuals when accessing system of data. So whenever they want to access, they should be able to access without any delay. Integrity means Only authorized individuals should modify the system or data. Confidentiality means unauthorized individuals should not be able to access any system or any data. There is a security checklist in Pega. So basically, this is called as application security checklist. So this entire checklist consists of, like, we need to determine who is responsible for the checklist. We need to assign the tasks. There are two types of tasks: core tasks and additional tasks. Core tasks are critical tasks; they have to be mandatorily taken care. Additional tasks are depending on your application, whether what all features of Pega is your application using. Depending on that, you can choose additional tasks. Coming to core tasks, keep application rules guardrail compliant. For example, your guardrails course, it comes under core task. So you need to identify best practices, identify critical tasks or core tasks, establish task timing, performs as a tracking tool. You need to protect your application to do all these things. So say security checklist lists your responsibilities, provides Pega leading practices to ensure secure deployment of your application to the production environment. So the critical task identifies, like means like guardrail scores and other tasks. Established task timing means when each task has to be performed. So this task should be performed early, maybe in the design phase or in the build phase, not after deployment or in the future. You can track the security checklist acts as a tracking tool. So you can see this actually. We need to match definition on the right. For example, this is the application security checklist. It's like acts like a task bar, progress bar. You can see how much readiness percentage here. So for example, this comes under read because track the status of the security task and the overall checklist completion percentage. Yes, we are able to see the percentage, right? So and hence we need to D will come here, percentage. Next, appropriately encrypt data. So this come under core task. Mandatorily we have to do. Pega Platform data stores by encrypting all of the data in a class by encrypting individual property values. The amount of sensitive data that is created and stored in the application affects the criticality of some of the tasks. As I told you, criticality means use core tasks. Next, additional task means optional task depending on your application. What Pega features is your application using? Based on the level of customization of your Pega application, you may or may not need to complete all the tasks listed under additional optional tasks. So A will come here. Next, audit changes to application data. Enable field level auditing in history tables where appropriate to track changes to key sensitive class properties. Check the link listed below the task to access more detail how to accomplish it. See, there is a link below this task, right? You need to click on this link. He has only highlighted, right? So you select that link. Here also link is there, but he has not highlighted, right? That's it. Simple.